Back to the subject of reaction. You ask, what do I do when nothing shifts despite prayer? All right, let us be honest with ourselves, because honesty in this work is mercy. The reaction tells on us. Faith, real, operative faith, is measured not by how fervently we speak truth or how long we remain on our knees, but by how little we react to the appearance that stands there saying, I am power. Do you see that? If we are inwardly bristling, if we are arguing, if we are outlining the way God must come, then our very prayer is the proof that we are not yet in faith. Be still and know that I am God. Not be busy about God. Not be insistent with God. Be still. When the disciples could not heal, the Master did not pad their feelings. He said, this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Take that not as a ritual threat, but as a diagnosis. This kind means the stubborn appearance that will not budge when you throw thoughts at it, when you quote scripture at it, when you muscle your way through with human will. And fasting is not punishment. Fasting is the refusal to feed the case with reaction, refusing the noise, the sides, the outcome dreaming, until the very roots cannot drink. We are not starving the body, we are starving the belief in two powers. We are fasting from fear, from hope, from hatred, neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. Now, do not enter the case humanly. Never permit yourself to give human advice to God or to man. Do not desire to change the appearance. Desire only God contact. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet. Go where no argument can follow you, because argument is the last disguise of fear. Nobody by taking thought can contact God, and nobody knows what God is, not mind, not even soul, not a bigger power to use against smaller powers. God is, that must be enough for the heart that would stand still. If you are still measuring your progress by what happens to the picture, you have not yet found the closet. You see, prayer that retains a private stake in the picture is not prayer, it is merchandise. Some of you say, but I have declared truth for weeks, and I see no change. All right, that tells us what we need to know. The declarations may be fine, but the inner life is still vibrating to the drum of the appearance. We are still answering the phone when error calls. We are still taking sides, our family side, our employer's side, our body side. Drop the sides. Stand on principle. Christ is the only identity present. That is our ground, and we do not leave it to go fight shadows. So we begin again. Let the appearance be without consenting to it. Refuse the inner flinch. Refuse the inner plea. Refuse even the inner plan for a happy outcome. Fast from reaction until prayer thins to silence, and in that silence, let God be God. Then, and only then, will this kind find no food in you, and the case will annul itself in the presence. All right, then, what is this kind? Do not make it a monster, and do not make it a museum piece. This kind is the stubborn shape taken by universal belief when it seems to find lodging in your affairs. It is the chronic symptoms, chronic quarrels, chronic shortage. It is the entrenched, the feud that outlives reason, the contract that never closes, the habit that wears your name like a label. It is the recurring month's end red ink, winter's ache, spring's panic. And yet, mark this well, you see, it is not a person, not a body, not a boss, not a market. It is universal belief claiming a law and an identity it does not have. Paul said, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. And he meant exactly that. The minute you decide it is her temper, his greed, their policy, your liver, you have taken sides with shadows. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment refuses the personality and returns to principle. There is one life, one law, one presence. Whenever we lift our eyes from that one to study fear or campaign against a second power, we feed the very belief we say we would starve. So in the factory or the boardroom, you are not dealing with capital versus labor, good angels against bad actors, not even the side that hired you. If you take a side, you have already admitted two powers. If you champion a personality, you have already forgotten that Christ is the only identity. Stand in the middle path, neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. Do not hate the union, and do not love the corporation's victory. Do not hate the pain, and do not love the cure you have outlined. Hate and love, fear and hope, these are the same rope pulling you into the ring. Drop the rope. Unpersonal the case. Strip it of names, dates, and diagnoses until what remains is this: an impersonal, universal belief in two powers is appearing as thus and so, claiming law where there is none. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting, because this kind feeds on your attention, your opposition, your anxious planning. Withhold the food. Let the label "my" fall off my debt, my disease, my enemy, and watch how quickly the glue loses tack when there is nothing in you to hold it. The prince of this world cometh and hath nothing in me. That is the posture. All right. If each winter the back shouts its calendar, do not chat with my back and do not argue with February. Recognize as seasonal universal belief parading as private fate. If the account dips like the tide, do not scold the ocean and do not pray for a sandbag. Recognize a collective mesmerism of lack and refuse to be its correspondent. In the kitchen quarrel, in the studio block, in the sick room, withdraw your consent to personalities. Let the appearance be what it is, a claim without law. Then the withering begins, not by your cleverness, but because starved of attention and opposition, it cannot live. This kind is not a somebody problem. It is an impersonal claim, and in the presence that acknowledges only one, it has no place to be. Now let us come to the loophole, because there is one, and it is clever, and it has worn piety's clothes so long most of us have blessed it as devotion. We pray, and then we peek. We speak truth, and then we take the pulse. We give it to God, and 5 minutes later we retrieve it to outline the terms of God's delivery. We declare all is well, and then we argue the case in the privacy of our hearts until we have tried judge, jury, and executioner. You see the pattern? Reaction disguised as reverence, and the appearance being only a claim feeding on mental motion finds just enough nourishment in that checking, pleading, and outlining to remain. Prayer that still reacts is self-canceling. Now, here is the shock you must accept if you are to walk this way. Do not turn to God for anything. God is not power-marshaled against the second power. God isn't mind. God isn't even soul. Nobody knows what God is. God is, the moment you make God a stick to beat a problem, you have two powers and you are in idolatry. The Master said, "When ye pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. For your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him." All right, if the Father knows, what is all this advising, informing, persuading? Which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit unto his stature? There it is. Nobody by taking thought can contact God. So let us tell the truth about much of what we have called prayer. It is taking thought, it is word noise, it is the mind trying to shush its own fear by talking louder. We stack promises against symptoms. We compose beautiful arguments to convince omniscience. We make a case for our side and call it faith. But anything that takes sides against an appearance first confers reality upon the appearance and then seeks God as power to conquer the reality it just created. That is the loophole. Human advice to God. human pleading, human outlining, human sympathy for a person or a cause. All this keeps the claim alive by acknowledging it as something, your something, my something, their something. The remedy begins where thought ends. Be still and know that I am God. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Do you see that? Hold your peace, not your position, not your plan, not your preferred outcome. Prayer without fasting, without refusing the inner noise and the appetite to monitor, manage, and measure, feeds the very belief we say we would starve. Never enter the case humanly. Never desire to change the appearance. Never desire even a holy victory for the side that seems right, not even the side that hired you. Withdraw from the mental bustle until there is nothing left in you that takes a side, checks a symptom, or asks to be reassured. Then prayer is not self-canceling because it is no longer your prayer. It is silence in which God is God. And this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Now, what then is this fasting to which the Master pointed? Do not run to the pantry, go to the heart. Fasting in this way is abstinence from noise. It is a holy refusal to let the mind do what it loves to do, arrange, advise, bargain, rehearse, and then call the commotion prayer. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Do you see that? Let all the earth, the churn, the thought, the watchdog checking the door every 10 minutes, keep silence. Fasting is not punishment. It is consecration. It is the decision to stop feeding the appearance with commentary, with feeling, with hope, and with dread until the flame finds nothing to burn. Now you will ask, but what of my affirmations, my verses, my carefully learned truths? All right, there is a place for them as signposts on the road, but they are not the road, and they are certainly not the destination. There must come a moment, yes, a split second when we forget all the truth we ever knew, not to despise truth, but to stop clutching it as a talisman. And in that unclutching, let silence reveal truth as presence. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Not in the correct recital, not in a well-aimed quotation, but in quietness in the vacancy where we have ceased to take thought about the case and a different order announces itself. Fasting is declining even holy advice. No advice to God, no advice to the body, no advice to the banker, no advice to the sun. Do not outline the way harmony must come. Do not strike a bargain, not even a pious one. I will pray this long if you will move that fast. Take no thought for your life, said the Master, and he meant it. Refuse the impulse to check the pulse of the problem. Refuse the appetite to tabulate the odds. Refuse the dear family habit of having an opinion. Neither fear, love, nor hate the appearance. Starve it of attention, and you will find it cannot stand without your gaze. Understand, we are not starving the body. We are refusing to feed the belief in two powers. We are not whipping the flesh for heaven's favor. We are laying down the rope we have been tugging against our own hand. The aim of this fast is not a prettier picture. The aim is presence actual, living presence. Be still and know that I am God. And when I is realized, when the click occurs, the picture arranges itself or dissolves of its own accord, not because we conquered it, but because in I there was nothing for it to claim. I, God, am the solution to all problems, not a solution applied to a problem, but the very absence of the problem in realized presence. So, enter your closet and close the door on every sentence, pro and con, fearful and hopeful, theological and psychological. Abide without preference. If the mind sends up a flare, let it burn out in the sky. Do not chase it. If a scripture rises, let it be a gate you pass through into silence, not a camp where you pitch your tent. Wait, hold your peace. And when that sweet, Unearned stillness dawns even for a breath. Do nothing with it. Do not name it. Do not spend it. Do not look sideways to see who noticed. Let it be. For in that letting be, the fast has done its work. The appetite for reaction is quiet, and the presence that needs no help, no plan, no partner stands forth as the only fact. All right, now to the method. Not a gimmick, not a technique to coax God, but a simple ladder you may climb out of thought into silence. Take it slowly. You cannot wrench a fruit to ripeness, and you cannot hurry this beyond the willingness to be still. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. We begin where every case begins, by impersonalizing. First, impersonalize. Strip the nameplates off the problem until only an impersonal claim remains. Do not say my disease, my debt, my adversary. Say instead, an impersonal universal belief is parading as thus and so, claiming a law it does not have. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. Right now, I nullify any seeming effect from a universal belief because there is no law of God to support it. Do you see? If there is no law, there is no continuity, and if there is no continuity, it cannot sustain itself without your attention. Second, one power. Whisper it once, not a chant. There is only one presence, one life, one law. That is enough. Then stop. Do not argue for the one against the second. The minute you argue, you have invented an opponent. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. If the one is realized, even faintly, there is nothing left to conquer. Be still there. Let it stand. Third, release sides. Refuse to love or hate an outcome. If spiritual harmony can only be achieved through separation, let's have it. If the one that engaged you wants to lose, that is his business. Your fidelity is not to a side or a story, but to principle. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment takes no side, not even the side that hired you, not even the side you sleep beside at night. Neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. Fourth, drop thought. Lay down the rope of quoting, affirming, pleading, planning. Now let even holy sentences pass like birds through a sky you will not net. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Let all the earth, the opinions, the forecasts, the inner solicitor, keep silence. Nobody by taking thought can contact God, and nobody knows what God is. God is sink beneath the words until you feel the words no longer need you. Fifth, wait for the click. Do not force it. Do not time it. Sit without preference. Hold your peace. At some unnoticed instant, the appetite to meddle will release like a hand opening without being told. That is the click. The mind stops looking sideways. The heart ceases its bargain. Be still and know that I am God. When that knowing dawns, even for a breath, do nothing more humanly. Do not name it. Do not spend it on the case. Do not check the pulse of the picture. Let God be God. In that instant, the case, having no food in you, annuls itself by the presence that never argued, never chose, never fought, only is. Now, let us carry this out into the streets, because principle that will not walk is only philosophy. In a factory office in San Francisco, the air was hot with names and dates and figures, capital on one side, labor on the other, each armed with righteousness, each demanding a victory that would automatically imply a loser. They sent for prayer, and the temptation was immediate: take the side that hired you, or at least the side that looks kinder. Never enter the case humanly. I sat and would not take a side, not even secretly. Judge not according to the appearance. but judge righteous judgment. Christ is the only identity in that room. Neither capital nor labor is identity. I refuse personalities, refuse the quick sympathetic tug, refuse to want the union vindicated or the owners chastened. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. In that refusal, no argument, no plan, silence came, and with it a strange calm that had nothing to do with contract terms. The next day, without a winner or a loser, an agreement appeared that both called just, and nobody could say who gave in. Do you see that? Where there are no sides, universal belief finds no atmosphere to breathe. In the kitchen, it is the same. A marriage at impasse, voices that have rehearsed their lines for years. They wanted counsel, and counsel would have been easy. Say this, he must do that. No. Christ is the only identity I will not hold for wife or husband. I will not hold for together or for apart. What therefore God hath joined together, let not man put asunder, and if God has not joined it, let not man bind it by sentiment. If spiritual harmony requires parting, let's have it. We sat in silence. The personal stories fell away like leaves, and presence filled the room. A tenderness came, not the sentiment of patching, but the love that sees only Christ. Weeks later, they parted without venom. Months later, they found each other anew, on ground that had no old quarrel to stand on. Sometimes a union was remade, sometimes it was not. In either case, spiritual good appeared where sides had been. The sick room, the old terrors wake quickly there. Infection, contagion, charts, watchers by the bed. Neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. That is not bravado. It is principle. Infection and contagion have no law of God to support them. I refuse to watch. I refuse to fear. I refuse to argue with a thermometer. Be not afraid. It is I. Sit, be still. Let the presence be the air of that room. Then, as fear starves, vitality stirs where it seemed impossible, not because we pushed, not because we forced a demonstration, but because in the holy quiet there was nothing for the claim to cling to. In the studio, an artist who had not painted for months came weeping. The drama was large, career, validation, the critic's eye. Do not be impressed. Decline the drama, fast from self-judgment and ambition. Take no thought for the morrow. We sat until the appetite to succeed dropped out and the fever to fail with it. In that emptied place, the hand moved without a watcher, and the work proceeded as if it had been waiting just behind the mirror of self. This is the thread that binds. Across factory, kitchen, sick room, and studio, non-reaction opens a field where universal belief has no atmosphere. The prince of this world cometh and hath nothing in me. Let there be nothing in you, no side, no scheme, no fear, and the case finds no place to be. All right, let us put feet under this and practice the middle path in real time, not in an hour-long vigil only, not in the comfort of a chair with the door closed, but in the exact second the email stings, the voice rises, the body twinges, the market hiccups. Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The watch is the cue, the prayer is the silence. When stirred, stop. Do not answer, do not justify, do not retaliate. 3 quiet breaths, slow, ordinary, unannounced. On the first breath, name it appearance. On the second, release it, hands off. On the third, return to one. Be still and know. Peace, be still. That is your cue to step out of the ring before you have thrown the first punch. Then a micro-fast. Give it 2 minutes. Give it 5 if grace allows, right where you stand if you can, or behind a closed door if you must. Refuse all inner commentary. Refuse even holy affirmations. Refuse outcome painting. Let Scripture If it rises, be a gate you pass through into silence, not a camp where you pitch your tent. Let all the earth keep silence before him. The earth is the mental bustle. This is not delay. This is obedience. You see, nobody by taking thought can contact God. And God is not a power to be sicked upon a second power. God is. So the mantric restraint, not my thought, not their side, not this story, be still. Whisper it once to gather your scattered self, then keep quiet. You will feel the appetite to speak, to text, to fix like a horse at the bit. Hold your peace. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips, also before the mouth of the mind. The inner lawyer will draft arguments. Decline. The inner nurse will check pulses. Decline. The inner prophet will foretell outcomes. Decline. Neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. Sit in that tiny Sabbath where nothing is asked and nothing is offered until even slightly the hand inside unclenches. That slight easing is enough for this drill. We are building a muscle. Completion is not your decision. It is discerned. Re-enter action only as compelled by quiet intuition. No heat, no hurry, no heroics. If the stillness gives you a word, speak it without embroidery. If it gives you a step, take it without announcing. If it gives you nothing, do nothing humanly. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Ye shall hold your peace. Better to write no email than to write one from reaction. Better to let a call ring than to answer with 2 powers on your tongue. Do this 10 times a day, at the sink, in the hallway, in traffic, at the doorway to a meeting. Small refusals, brief, wordless, swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. These micro-fasts are the carpenter's daily strokes. Length is not the power, fidelity is. As this muscle strengthens, longer fasting from reaction comes naturally, and when this kind shows its face, you will already have emptied its plate. In that readiness, the click comes more easily, and the presence that ends cases has a cleared table on which to serve its peace. All right, let us make this practical and simple enough that no cleverness can hide in it. Choose one stubborn case, one only, the one that has learned your schedule and rings your bell at will. Announce within yourself a 2 4-hour fast from reaction to that case. No talking of it, no texting about it, no thinking it through, no checking the symptom, the balance, the pulse, the inbox. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips, also before the lips of the mind. For one day, starve the case of attention and opinion, and let God have its perfect work. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Fasting means you decline to feed it with even a glance. Structure the day. Set 3 appointments with silence morning, midday, evening, 7 to 10 minutes each, not to perform, not to bargain, not to advise, but to sit without words. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, shut the door on speech, outer and inner. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Do you see? Let all the earth, the inner commentary, keep silence. If a verse rises, let it lift you, and then pass. If a fear knocks, refuse to answer. Wait without preference. Should the click come, even faint, do nothing humanly with it. If it does not, do nothing humanly anyway. Be still and know that I am God. Between those appointments, keep a community rhythm with yourself. Every hour, on the hour if you can, give a 1-breath check-in, nothing public, nothing dramatic. Whisper within. You see, there is only one presence, one law, then drop it at once. Do not embroider. Do not argue for one against two. Say it and let it fall into silence. That is, pray without ceasing, without making noise. Each hourly remembrance is a pinch of salt thrown on the appetite to meddle. Keep a simple journal, but keep it holy. Do not analyze. Do not record content, causes, or clever insights. Only mark whether in that hour you reacted or you did not. R or NR, nothing more. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment here is the quiet honesty to see if you took the bait. Do not score yourself. Do not tell a story about the tally. Let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Completion is gentle. When the 24 hours close, do not break the fast with explanations. Do not rush to tell a friend. Do not email the result. Do not check the symptom as payment for your obedience. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Ye shall hold your peace. If action is required, it will be given without heat or hurry. If nothing is given, add nothing. Continue in restraint. Say nothing to any man until the inner poise remains when you are not guarding it. Then the day has done more than you asked. It has trained you to starve appearances and to let God be God. All right, now what if after your holy restraint the picture does not budge? Do not be deceived by the stillness of the surface. The roots are not on the surface. The kingdom of God cometh not with observation. Fruit does not ripen under inspection. The husbandman does not pry open the bud. He gives it sun and water and time. The earth bringeth forth fruit of herself, first the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. Do you see that? Of herself, not of your monitoring, not of your day-by-day audit. Let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. The silence you hold is not inactivity. It is the only activity that does not feed the claim. Under that quiet, roots are loosening where your eyes cannot see and where your hands could only bruise. Do not look at your demonstration day by day. That is like digging up the seed to see if it likes the dark. The Master did not say, faint not, and check hourly. He said, in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Due season is God's calendar, not ours. Saul of Tarsus had a visitation so bright it dropped him to the ground, but he did not arise Paul the next morning and open an office. Years 9, by the best accounts of hidden ripening before he went out in clear service, those years were not delay. They were gestation, the bleaching out of zeal, the making of a vessel that could carry without spilling. You don't think for a minute you and I can hurl a verse at this kind and have the ripening without the root work? No. Let maturity bring to light. Wait without preference. And in this waiting, keep your hands out of the outcome. If the one who engaged you wants to lose, that's his business. Your interest is spiritual activity alone, the presence of God realized, not a scoreboard that flatters your practice. If spiritual harmony presents as a door closing, let's have it. If it presents as a door opening you never would have drawn, let's have it. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Ye shall hold your peace. Outcome watching is side-taking in disguise. The minute you hope for a particular picture, you have loved one side. The minute you dread, you have hated the other. Neither hope nor dread. Stay in the middle path where the air is clear and universal belief cannot breathe. You will find that hope and fear are the same rope, different ends. Both yank you into the ring. Both cloud the atmosphere with mental weather that chokes the tender shoot. Drop the rope, be still. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. Wait does not mean sulk. It means consent to the unseen law at work. Keep to your fast from reaction, no checking, no boasting, no postmortems. Keep your hourly pinch of remembrance and let it fall into silence. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it. Long patience is not a punishment. It is the atmosphere in which the invisible becomes inevitable. Trust this. The absence of visible change is not the absence of activity. In the hush, you keep the roots of this kind are drying, and at the moment you are neither watching nor wanting, the click may come quiet as dawn, and the case, starved of your attention and your opposition, will have nowhere to be. All right, while we wait in that holy hush, let us clear the field of the props that slip back in when we are not looking. First, pious busyness. Endless affirmations and lovely sentences can be only racket in church clothes. When ye pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do. Do you see that? Not because truth is untrue, but because the mind uses truth like a drumbeat to drown out its own fear. Better one clean recognition, there is only one. God is, and then silence, than 1,000 declarations fired like arrows at an appearance you have already admitted has power. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Let all the earth, the stream of holy words, keep silence long enough for presence to be presence without your help. Second, spiritual side-taking. Our cause is righteous, we say. Therefore, God must be on our side. Rubbish. Principle has no sides, not even the side that hires you, not even the side that looks kinder. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment refuses to love or hate any outcome. If spiritual harmony can only be achieved through separation, let's have it. If the one who engaged you wants to lose, that is his business. You are not a chaplain for a camp. You are a transparency for principle. Stand in the middle where there is no applause and no boos, and you will find the air clear enough for God to be God. Third, theological crutches. God isn't mind. God isn't even soul. Nobody knows what God is. God is. The moment you treat God as a lever to move matter or a power with which to whip a second power, you have entered idolatry. The hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. The true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. Not in a concept, not in a geography, not in an argument. Contact, not concept. There must come that split second when you forget all the truth you ever knew, and in the forgetting, truth stands forth as presence. Don't turn to God for anything. Turn into God, and let God be God. Fourth, the Sabbath scruple. You missed your hour, you missed your chair, you missed your building, and guilt creeps in as if God were kept in a cabinet. The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Consecrate anywhere, anytime, in spirit and in truth. A bus seat can be your holy of holies, the sink your altar, a hallway your upper room. Shut the door on noise, not on a calendar. Lastly, the contagion complex, the drafts and germs narrative. Infection and contagion have no law of God to support them. Neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. Do you see? We refuse the story that fear tells. We remove belief in two powers. We do not feed the case by watching it. We starve it by silence. The prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in me. Let there be nothing in you, no fear story, no side, no prop. Drop the props. Concepts, sides, and rituals become idols the instant they replace silence. Be still. Hold your peace. Let presence annul what your cleverness has kept alive. This kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. All right, let us close the circle together. We began with the honest confession that much of what we call prayer fails because it is only a refined reaction. We walked from reaction into restraint, from thought into silence, from the tyranny of outcomes into the freedom of presence. We name this kind not as a personal devil, but as an impersonal universal belief, powerless when unfed. We discovered the hidden loophole, prayer without fasting, that keeps a case alive. We reframed fasting as refusing mental noise and human outlining. We climbed the ladder from impersonalization to the click. We watched non-reaction all to the air in factory, kitchen, sick room, and studio. We trained the pause, took a 2 4-hour fast from reaction, trusted divine timing when nothing moved, and dropped the props that dress up our fear as devotion. Now, you see, there is nothing left but the simple law. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Seal this in your heart. Prayer joined to fasting, contact without concept, silence without scheme is the whole work. Nobody by taking thought can contact God. God isn't mind. God isn't even soul. God is. Be still and know that I am God. Your part is the stillness. God's part is the knowing. Never enter the case humanly. Never desire to change an appearance. Do not outline. Do not advise. Do not bargain. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Ye shall hold your peace. Let God have its perfect work, and then patience, the benediction upon all true work. Do not look at your demonstration day by day. Let maturity bring to light. Let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. In the dark of your closet, hear the whisper that has guided saints and simple souls alike. In thy silence I shall come to you, not in your repetition, not in your plan, in thy silence. When the click comes, even faint, do not spend it on the case. Do not turn to see who noticed. Let presence annul what needed no argument to end. So go quietly, in the hallway, at the sink, in the meeting, on the bed at 3 a.m. Refuse sides, refuse stories, refuse the appetite to fix. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. If separation is the door to harmony, let's have it. If the one who engaged you wants to lose, that is his business. You are not a chaplain for a camp. You are a transparency for principle. Be faithful and do not look back. No man, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of God. Keep your hand forward, your lips closed, your heart unscheming. The prince of this world will come and find nothing in you, no side, no scheme, no dread, and in that holy nothing, everything necessary is done. Peace to you. Be still and know.